Hey y'all, Halfmilesniper here, and while we can't get out to the range this week because, well, the coof caught me. It's official as of yesterday. So, I'm stuck inside. We're still going to try to put something out, and today we're going to talk a little bit about shooting a revolver. So, sit back, kick your feet up, enjoy the ride. Alrighty, y'all. So, what I have here today, I have unloaded Smith & Wesson Model 19. And this was the very first gun I bought when I turned 21 years old. Spent a lot of time at the Oshman's there in Houston looking at all the Model 19s they had before I picked this one. And that started my long journey on learning how to shoot a revolver. And today I'm going to try to hopefully pass on a couple of revolver shooting tidbits that y'all can employ and maybe do a little bit better with your revolvers than you thought possible. So we'll get right to it here in just a second. Let me stay hydrated with some hot coffee. Yes, I know coffee's a diuretic. That was the joke. Again, we have an unloaded revolver. Everybody can see there's nothing in the chamber. Now, the first thing that I seem to see most people doing is they grip up on the revolver way too low. Most people, if you look on some of their images or in some of their footage, if it's YouTube, they're gripping way down low. And there's this big space right here above their hand and the top of this knuckle at the back of the revolver. Well, in reality, you want to be all the way up on that knuckle. What that does is that's going to change the position of your finger in the trigger and give you a better angle of attack and actually lighten the trigger pull. When you're down low here, you're fighting that spring the whole way, and you have no control over the gun. You get up high, choke up on it a bit so that maybe the meat of the web of your hand is almost rolling over the top. And mine does all the time. And that puts your finger in a whole new position. And the way to find that best position for that finger, let me ground that. Right here, that first joint on your trigger finger. With a revolver, that's where you want the trigger to fall. And this is going to seem a little bit, how do I want to say this? Unusual, but definitely not something you want to do on the range. You got to practice this beforehand. Take your finger and find that first knuckle, that first joint, and then wrap your hand into the gun and see how that feels. Remember how that feels. You've got that first joint up into that trigger. And now you have maximum leverage on that trigger when you're pulling through it. And you have total control. You can go slow without disturbing anything. You can go fast and slow down at the end of the trigger pull before the hammer falls and maintain control and keep your sights aligned as you hover over the center of your target. Let's see if I can get in a little closer for y'all. Okay, so we are still unloaded. And when we get wrapped in and we have full control of that trigger, I can lock that cylinder without dropping the hammer. So you want to really, really, really concentrate on getting a good, firm, high grip on that revolver. Don't worry, you're not going to pinch the meat between the hammer spur and the knuckle, unless if you have a bent hammer spur. Alrighty, now that we've talked about getting our grip, let's talk about our support hand. So you can see that the three fingers, my middle finger, ring finger, and little finger, are all the way up against the back of the trigger guard here. And my left hand, I'm just going to come in and I'm going to wrap in on my grip hand. And then I am going to try to put the heels of my palm together. And that's going to give me a naturally solid, tight grip without shaking. And then my thumbs just kind of lay on top of one another out here. So that's that for the grip. So now we've established where our trigger finger needs to be, where the gun needs to be in our strong hand, how to wrap our support hand to get full control over this gun for double action shooting. Now let's talk about sights. All your focus should be on the front sight. Your target should be blurry. Your rear sight should be a little bit blurry. Your front sight is the only thing that should be clear. It's physically impossible to have all three pieces clear. Front sight, rear sight, and the target. So the one part you want clear is the front sight. And like this gun has a serrated front sight. When you're fully focused on that front sight, you will see each and every one of those serrations. And your target will be a little bit fuzzy. And your rear sight will be a little bit fuzzy. And the brain does wonderful things. The brain loves symmetry. You stare at that front sight, and the brain is naturally going to center you up in this rear notch. And then you're going to hold that clear front sight over the very middle of your fuzzy target. And then while we've got our focus on that front sight, and we're maybe shooting at a little bit of distance, 25, 50, 100 yards, avoid the urge to be going as you're moving around on your target and saying, I'm gonna get it now. What you're experiencing is arc of motion. It is an optical illusion. The further back your distance goes, the more it looks like you're moving. 50 yards shooting offhand on a small target, you swear you are swinging side to side. So you swear you're swinging side to side. And we're going to use the Magpul sticker here as my 50-yard target. And you swear that you're swinging in a figure eight about like this across that target. And you start that trigger pull. And you're going, oh, I'm off the target. I'm on the target. I'm off the target. I'm on the target. I'm going to get it now. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to put that shot down here. Because in reality, you're moving that much. It's an optical illusion. Ignore the arc of motion. And that arc of motion is a very tricky phenomena. It's the two things that were the hardest for me to overcome shooting a revolver was one, knowing I'm setting an explosion off roughly 30 inches out in front of my face, and two, ignoring that arc of motion. You're not moving that much. It only looks that way. Once you have these techniques not necessarily understood, but put into practice, we can move to the range for some live fire. But rather than just fill the cylinder up and go bang, 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 I want you to load 2 cylinders, skip a cylinder, and load a 3rd cylinder. And then give the cylinder a spin and close it without looking. The exercise is called ball and dummy. Some instructors may call it skip fire. I'm sure it has other names. But you got to be honest with yourself and not cheat, because if you're really watching, you can see the brass cases come up around the outside of the recoil shield. But you don't want to do that, because you want your focus on the front sight. And you're going to focus on that front sight. And you're going to do your best trigger pull, and you're going to squeeze right through, and you're going to keep your focus on that front sight and let it hover over the center of your target, and the gun's either going to go bang or it's going to go click. The gun goes bang, sets off the vibrations all through your arms and through your hands, and you set up for the next shot, and now your brain is telling your body it's going to be an explosion. Is that next shot going to go bang, or is it going to go click? Is it going to go bang, or is it going to go click? And in this case, it goes click. Just like that. And if you're doing everything right, that front sight's not going to move. But if you're succumbing to anticipation from knowing that there's an explosion going off in front of your face at the end of your hand, you're going to see that. And that front sight's going to dip, and it's going to go to the left, or it's going to go to the right, or you're going to go hard to the right, because you've got too much finger in here now, and you're actually pulling the gun over. Remember, first joint, wrap high, good leverage, smooth trigger pull, focus on the front sight, roll through the trigger, one smooth motion. Do not stop the trigger once you start it. You can slow it way down, but don't stop it. Well, there you have it. Just a few revolver shooting tips that, if you give them a try, your revolver shooting will definitely improve. And once you have good basics with a revolver, those basics will follow over into a semi-auto. The semi-auto, you really can't do the ball and dummy, but once you know to keep your focus on the front sight and keep that trigger moving and be smooth, it will work with the semi-auto as well. Okay, so we've covered all that. Hopefully these little tips help you all out. Link below to the Half-Mile Sniper shirts. It'll be in the description. We are, when I last looked this morning, we are 16 subscribers away from that 1,000 subscriber mark. We are close to doing that giveaway. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for getting me there. So maybe by the time I'm done with this coof thing, we'll be able to do a live stream and do the giveaway. But we'll see what happens. Until next time, until we can get to the range, or if this keeps dragging on and I have to do another sit down and talk to you while I'm not feeling all that great, I'll do that too. But until next time, this will be Half-Mile Sniper checking out. Hope each and every one of y'all are safe, and hopefully none of y'all go through the coof like I am. Fortunately for me, knock on wood, all the symptoms have been really mild so far. So I think everything will be okay. We'll see. Thank you much. We'll catch you next time.
Send it. Hit.